Tofu has been a staple food in Indonesia for hundreds of years. But in the country's second largest city, it has become toxic. Trash shipped in from the US, Europe, and Australia fuels the furnaces that cook the dish. Under a microscope, the microplastics are visible on all the surfaces the tofu touches. Indonesia has banned plastic imports, but the US still illegally ships about 5 million pounds of plastic here in a single month.
Take back your trash! Take back your trash!
Sampah numpuk itu, waduh, ngeri.
So why is Indonesia at the heart of the world's trash trade? And how is it poisoning the local food chain? There are about 60 factories churning out tofu here in Troporo village. Takim has worked at many of them since he was 16. He lives at the factory, like many workers here, because he came from a village almost 200 miles away just for this work.
Kadang seminggu, kadang lebih. Udah bertahun-tahun di tahu ya, jadi udah terbiasa lah.
They start by washing soybeans, the base of tofu. Many factories get them straight from Argentina or the US for about 27 cents a pound. The imported variety is actually cheaper. The beans are also bigger and richer in protein. Workers soak them overnight to soften them up, and then grind them into a paste. These men get paid just over $2 a day. That was Takim's only job for 2 whole years. Becoming one of the cooks is a rite of passage. They get paid over $12 a day if they work fast. In this part of Indonesia, that's $1 above the minimum wage, which can be hard to come by here. Next, they pump the soybean paste into one of these concrete basins. These are heated by furnaces that use plastic trash as fuel.
Ayo, andai kata tidak ada tahu, Pak. Plastik hidupnya seperti apa? Coba dibayangkan.
Muhammad Gufron, who runs this factory, pays $9 for a truckload from a nearby dump.
Maru gratis. Nggak beli loh, berhubung lama. Sudah laku.
That plastic lasts him about a day, but it's still much cheaper than wood, which costs more than twice as much. And they would need a lot of it, because this paste has to get really hot before it separates into pulp and this soybean water. Workers drain the mixture into this cheesecloth and swirl it around to remove as much water as possible.
Nyaringnya itu kan panas itu pas nyaring.
Workers get covered in this liquid as it sprays everywhere.
Ya biasa kalau gatal-gatal gitu, kena kutu air kan dari pagi kerendam air terus.
Many develop a skin fungus that forms painful blisters.
Kalau butuh uang pasti kerja.
Dan rata-rata milih kerja atau enggak?
Kebanyakan milih kerja. Kalau sakit milih kerja.
Ya karena penghasilannya kan lebih tinggi. Ya paling beda 40% gitu karena penghasilan tadi. Alhamdulillah cukup.
People who work here are also breathing in toxic fumes all day long.
We are going to measure the air pollution.
Daru Setiorini works for Ekoton, a local environmental group that tracks pollution in the area.
The standard is 150 microgram.
But this reads 1,500. That means there are 10 times more particles, like microplastics and other toxic chemicals, floating in the air than the safe limit set by the World Health Organization and by the Indonesian government. As part of Ekoton's research, Daru tests these surfaces too. She sets out a petri dish, usually for about 8 hours, to capture falling particles. This time, she left it here for just 30 minutes. and then took it back to the lab for testing.
Ini juga salah satu jenis mikroplastik yang bentuknya itu fiber ya. Ini ada juga film, jenis mikroplastik juga. Nah ini dia terlihat tertempel ya, ditempelin oleh bakteri-bakteri, patogen, virus maupun polutan yang ada di sekitarnya.
Those microplastics and the contaminants they attract all end up in this tofu.
So when people eat tofu, the microplastic will be bad impact to our hormone system, digestive system, and our reproductive system as well. It can cause infertility in the male.
Despite the risks, tofu production hasn't stopped. Once the men have strained the pulp, they add fermented coconut water to the leftover soybean liquid. Within minutes, the mixture congeals into curds. Workers scoop those out and transfer them to these molds.
Bau sebelah kanan sini yang paling pegel. Kan begini terus sih, Pak.
The men don't use any measuring tools. They have to eyeball how much they scoop in.
Nyetak gitu, waktu nyetak gitu kan namanya feeling orang kan nggak tentu bener. Ya kadang ketipisan gitu.
If it does, Takim has to redo the batch. And he doesn't get paid for what he throws out. The tofu curds are pressed between layers of cheesecloth. Stacking the crates squeezes out excess water, forming these solid blocks of tofu. Women take over for the next step. They use rusty grill grates to cut the chunks of tofu into even rectangles. And then they package it. The Indonesian government hasn't managed to stop the practice of cooking tofu in toxic environments. The country banned burning plastic outside in 2008, but tofu factories do it in furnaces, so it's mostly out of sight. And it helps solve a huge national problem: getting rid of trash that isn't even supposed to be here. A lot of the trash in Indonesia comes from places like Europe, Australia, and the United States, which started shipping its waste here in the early 2000s. Indonesia's lax environmental regulations and low labor costs made doing that cheaper. Western nations started exporting even more here in 2018, after China banned plastic waste imports, turning the country into one of the world's top dumping grounds. A lot of this plastic is single-use and cannot be recycled even in countries with developed infrastructure.
I think this one Uni Eropa.
This is from Italy.
Even the kinds that are recyclable often don't get processed here.
Indonesia already have problems with our own domestic waste. We have lack of capacity. They keep adding more burden to us. It's really irresponsible.
In 2019, the situation got so bad, Indonesia rejected 58 container ships carrying trash from the United States. But reportedly, only 12 made it back. Many of the rest were dumped in other developing countries. To stem the flow, Indonesia banned all plastic trash imports as of 2025. But they keep coming anyway. Sometimes, importers bribe customs officers to get plastic in more easily, according to one report. Countries are still allowed to export other types of trash, like paper, here. But for every 3 million tons of waste labeled as paper, about 450,000 tons are actually plastic, according to Ecoton's reporting. In May 2025, months after the ban took effect, the US illegally shipped about 5 million pounds of plastic in a single month. And these factories have become a way to get rid of it. This facility gets tofu pre-made and fries it up over stoves fueled by plastic too.
People already aware, yeah, that this job have high risk. They need to make living, and they see this plastic fuel is very effective. So people think it's good for them, but actually they become a victim.
50-year-old Suaria has worked at this factory nearly every day for almost half of her life. She says plastic makes the flames burn stronger.
Ya panas, sumuk.
She cooks 5 batches a day to earn her $3 wage.
Nggak ada, sudah meninggal. Dilakoni lah Mbak, gak mampu ngoten lho. Jadi ya sehari-harinya ya begini.
Snack wrappers are among the most dangerous kinds of plastic to burn because they contain dyes that can make fumes extra poisonous.
Di kampung iku, sing botol-botol niku, kadang kan bensin mboten kanggo ngoten niku sih. Niku wedi. Mungkin nek dilebokaken kadang enten uline, kadang enten nyopone langsung meledak. Nah, kula kan iki nate berdosan.
Here in Troporo village, these factories aren't just unsafe for workers. They are also polluting the air with toxic emissions about 20 times the national limit. In 2019, researchers found that free-range chicken eggs from around here contained dioxin levels 70 times higher than the safe limit. That chemical is extremely poisonous. It can damage the liver even in tiny amounts and can cause serious birth defects and cancer. The only place with more toxic eggs in Asia was Vietnam, where the US dropped the now banned chemical weapon Agent Orange during the war. But instead of cracking down, the Indonesian government appointed a panel of experts to dispute the findings. Meanwhile, those chemicals are also seeping into the water supply.
And this is the wastewater from the process. It will just discharge without any filtration or any treatment to the nearby waterways.
While the Indonesian government has outright banned plastic imports, activists say they haven't seen much change.
Do you believe that those developed countries care about the well-being here?
No, they are so mean, they are so cruel, they are irresponsible.
Beli tahu untuk persiapan makan malam sama anak-anak 5.000.
But some locals, for whom this tofu is a staple, refuse to believe the worst. Like Titin, who has been buying from factories like this one since she was a child.
Enggak, hampir setiap hari.
Titin mostly buys the wet kind. Historically, tofu has been especially popular among low-income groups.
Enggak ada. Meriah. Sedang makan tahu sama bakso, anak-anak juga suka. Yuk makan.
In fact, Indonesians eat more of it than they do beef or chicken. And for generations, it was good for you. Traditionally, factories cooked tofu over discarded rice husks, wood, and other biodegradables. They were free and generally safer to burn. But as plastic piled up, it slowly took over as the main fuel source. And what was once a nutritious meal quietly became a toxic one. The danger isn't apparent right away.
Buktinya ibu, bapak dari kecil sampai makan tahu juga, enggak apa-apa, juga sehat sampai sekarang. Sehat semua.
But over the years, dozens of reports have warned against this tofu, including a documentary that went viral in early 2025.
There is plastic fumigated tofu that is quietly feeding and poisoning entire cities.
But surprisingly, factory owners and workers told us sales shot up the first month after the video was published.
Kan penasaran, semakin rame, iya malah beli semua, penasaran membuktikan.
Today, food stands, markets, and restaurants all get their tofu from factories like Gufrons. Some recipes have become beloved local specialties, like the popular street food called tahutek, which got its name from the sounds vendors make as they go around selling it on the streets. Even knowing how it's prepared doesn't stop locals like Sri Surya from enjoying this meal.
The taste is quite special for me. We eat tofu from the very beginning of our life. It's actually easy to find and it's also affordable.
And she believes the actions of the West are simply an oversight.
It is possibly that they only do not know that how the trash is used in developing countries. That's why they're still continuing this. But once they know, I'm sure that they will end.